it's Mike, back here in the Nerd Cave. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Lenovo Flex 5 14-inch AMD edition. I think this is going to be an awesome laptop for students and anyone looking for kind of a do-it-all machine this year. Let's take a look. Let's get the specs out of the way first. This thing's rocking one of the new AMD APUs. It's one of the lower powered ones. It's a 4500U. It's 6 cores, 6 threads, and it's rocking the Vega 6 graphics. They're similar to like an MX250 from nVidia. It's following that up, we got 16 gigs of RAM. It's soldered on, so you can't upgrade it, but it's pretty good. Just start off with 16 gigs at this price point, and it's dual channel. It's running at 3200 megahertz. We got a 256 gigabyte SSD. This is an NVMe SSD. It can be changed out if you want something bigger, but there isn't any additional storage space in this laptop. It has a 52.5 watt-hour battery. In my testing, this got me about 8.5 hours of use, even though Lenovo says up to 10. And this was with like light productivity work. If you really taxed it with some gaming or anything else, I found that you could get somewhere around 2 hours of battery life, which is still really good for something this size playing games. It's rocking a 1920 by 1080p display. It only gets up to about 250 nits, so I wouldn't suggest trying to use this outside in direct sunlight. But besides that, I found that it was a nice looking display, IPS, so colors looked good even though it might not be the most color accurate. Either way, I would say this gets a pass in my book, especially again at $600. It's a killer deal. Now for the dimensions. This thing comes in at 3.64 pounds and about 0.8 inches thick. So pretty portable. It is a 2-in-1, so you can use it as a laptop. You can just put it in the display mode. You can flip it over and use it in the tent mode, or you can put it into tablet mode. Now for the ports on this machine. First up over here, we got 2 USB 3 ports, as well as a full-size SD card reader and the power button. Over here, we've got the power port, a full-size HDMI out, as well as USB-C, but it's a little bit disappointing that it doesn't support display out. It just does data as well as power, which also leads me into that this thing came with a USB-C charger rather than a barrel port, so that was a little confusing why they even include the barrel port on here, but you have it if you want to get a different charger, I guess. Also, a headphone microphone combo port here if you want to plug in a headset or something. In day-to-day use, this thing performs really well. You can get done anything from surfing the web, emails, writing up documents, all the way to some light graphic design work, maybe some light video and photo editing. Nothing too crazy, but this is an awesome performer. And then when you're all done, you can kick back and it can get in some light gaming as well. Sound on this laptop was pretty good too. I'll put a sample in the video here for a bit. Now, it was nothing to write home about, but it's also not bad. I'd say it gets the job done. They are upward firing right next to the keyboard here, which is one of my favorite locations for speakers, as they're facing you when you're using the laptop. The only downside to this is that if you have it in like tent mode, they are going to be facing away from you if you're trying to watch something. So I would say if you're going to watch something, just leave it in laptop mode. The keyboard layout is a fairly standard layout. I always love Lenovo keyboards. I use ThinkPads for work, and I've always loved the chiclet design that Lenovo uses. The backlighting on this keyboard is pretty solid with off, low, and high as the 3 different levels. You can see it in a bright room, a dark room, everything just fine. There's a little bit of flex on the keyboard deck, but nothing bad. Overall, I would say this machine feels pretty darn sturdy. There's not a lot of flex on it. The trackpad was also large, used the Windows Precision drivers and was very responsive, so that's always good. And then it had the fingerprint sensor on the side for quick login with Windows Hello. I really like the finish that Lenovo has been using on a lot of their laptops recently. The only downside is it does attract some fingerprints, but besides that, it's a nice, smooth, matte finish that gives it a more premium feel than I would say most plastic laptops have. One of the really cool things with this deal was it came with its own stylus here. It's a battery-powered stylus from Lenovo, pressure sensitive and everything. When it came to using the stylus here to take notes, I was really happy with the responsiveness and the different levels of pressure sensitivity, and there was really no lag at all. I would be confident to take this to any classes or meetings and take notes with it. So with the basic stuff out of the way, I fired up some games, just some esports titles. You're probably not going to be playing anything brand new AAA on this thing unless you really crank the settings down to like low 720p if you're lucky. But anything a little bit older, any esports titles, all going to play great. Naturally, my two favorites being Rocket League and Valorant right now. I wanted to see how both of those would run. Happy to say, Rocket League 1080p low to medium settings stayed consistently above 60 frames per second. Then with Valorant, I saw frame rates consistently above 100 FPS at low to medium settings as well. So for any games though that you can hit that 60 FPS mark on, I would say lock it at 60 FPS in the settings. That way you'll avoid screen tearing on this display, as it is just a 60 Hz display, and you're gonna have a really good experience. Now there was one thing that was pretty disappointing to me, and that was video editing in Davinci Resolve, as this is how I edit all of my videos currently. And I think there might be a driver bug or a driver issue currently with the AMD APUs with how new they are, and I'm hoping Davinci Resolve maybe fixes this, or AMD on the driver side fixes this. As soon as I would try and drag and drop any media into the timeline, it would just crash. The system wouldn't even ramp up, so it's not like it was overloaded or anything. It would just go to immediate crash, and I wouldn't think it would be a GPU issue, as this thing should perform similarly to like an MX250, which I've seen run Davinci Resolve just fine on other machines. Maybe not the fastest by any means, but it would run. So this was really disappointing to me, as I was thinking about also getting one of these for myself as a machine I could take on the go for editing. If you're someone who uses Premiere or maybe another editing software, you should be fine. Again, it's not going to be the fastest machine when it comes to editing, especially with Premiere. I know they kind of favor Intel machines, they're more optimized, but it would still work just fine. I am happy to say though, besides Davinci Resolve, this machine right here met all of my expectations. And I know that anybody else who got this, if you're just going to be doing some business work or school work on it and you wanted to be able to play some games, you're going to be really happy with this. It's kind of a jack of all trades, since it's a 2-in-1 with the stylus, the ability to flip into those different positions, and the power it has. It's going to be a great daily driver for tons of people, especially at the price point. Right now, it's been in and out of stock twice already since I purchased this last week. So it might be tough to find in stock. I'm going to link it below, the Amazon link it was at. But for $600, keep your eye out. If it comes back in stock, this is a really tough deal to beat right now. I want to just thank everyone for stopping in. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe down below. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.